to be here with the one and only RT to be casting the loser semifinals of this Unite Shuffle. RT, I'm super excited. Who are we going to be watching today?
Well, I think we have two very interesting team names. We will be watching Jungle Blissey OP as well as Perfect Exeggcution in this loser final. So yeah, really, I do hope that we have like a good time for this game.
I can't even like follow up from that pun. I was not ready for it. I was just gonna say like, wow, two Blissey themed names, and you just came out full force with an excellent pun.
Yeah, I mean, it's such a great team name, right? Both of them just happen to have like it's all egg theme, and yeah, I'm just really excited to see what they have for us.
Yeah, I'm really excited to see what's happening with these teams. I can't wait to see what plays they're gonna make, what their team comps end up looking like. Honestly, I'm really excited to see what's going to happen with this game as we go into it. It's best of 3.
Yep, and I think with that, going into the selection screen, so we can get a glimpse of what team compositions they are kind of going for right now. What are you seeing here?
Honestly, I am really excited to be seeing on Jungle Blissey OP side. I'm excited to be seeing Muk on that Greninja, LeCoding bringing out that iconic Lucario. But of course, we're also seeing Blissey, of course. Is it going to be jungling? We'll see. An Absol and a Mime on both teams, actually. But then also on the other side, we see that Delphox, super excited to see that, and the Aegis Slash, Machamp, and the Glaceon, and a Mime, of course. What do you think about these two teams?
Well, I mean, looking at the side of Muk's team, I think the team composition is a little bit more balanced there. They have a good amount of Pokemon that doesn't need a lot of evolution, so they are good to go from the early stages. But whereas on the other team, you have a lot of third stage evolution Pokemon, so they have to be very patient, especially in the early to mid game.
That's a really good point. And just another note, like you said, Muk's team, they actually have a lot of dive. They're very forward heavy, whereas, there's a good balance on the other team of being able to play back, especially with that Delphox, just being able to cast spells and play really aggressively, or with that Glaceon as well. But let's see what's happening here. And it looks like we actually might be seeing a split jungle on the excellent side, whereas here it looks like we're going for a typical 2-1-2, and actually not a split jungle. It looks like Tibi's going for perhaps an invade on this side. I'm really curious to see how this one ends up playing out.
This is something that has been happening a lot on this new map. Oh, he misses his entrance with that move, and he doesn't manage to actually steal the jungle at all from Muk. And not to mention Selo is there to kind of just make sure that he doesn't get the second one as well.
Yeah, Tibi ends up getting that second one, but it's going to be really hard for Tibi to get out with that Blissey rotation. Really good from Selo, and they do manage to take it down, and Muk does get that red buff back, and Selo's going back to the top path to help after a very good early transition there. And it looks like on the bottom path, it looks like Mime is doing a really great job, and it looks like they're going to, go back without perhaps stacking any of the points that they were getting. But Tibi going back to that top lane to help even out this 2-1-2 comp that we're seeing on Jungle Blissey OP side.
Yeah, I think really a good rotation coming in. I think he recognized what was necessary, and I mean afterwards also helping the Lucario at the top lane. However, it seems like Glaceon has kind of went up to the top lane, and they managed to get a lot of the I wanted to say bees, but that's the Swablu's and Altarias. Ooh, it seems like they are trying to push a lot of their Pokemon because they are late game team composition, and they need to play aggressively in order to get that early hit start for the team comp.
They really took advantage of the fact that LeCoding went down bot in order to really aggress and get some of those stacks. LeCoding just getting out there, going down perhaps to the ball toy, maybe to Machamp, couldn't really tell here. Tibi going back in for that jungle aggression. We'll see who gets it. Looks like Tibi got that really convenient evolution at the same time. Will they get a KO on Muk? They do. LeCoding coming back in to see if they can get a KO here, chasing down Tibi. That meteor punch getting Tibi perhaps back to safety, but Selo is here. Will they get a berry or not? Will they get to safety? They get that berry. Oh no, but LeCoding gets the final KO here.
Yeah, he does manage to waste a lot of their time, though, so making the rotations a little bit slower for them, and making sure that this team composition that scales early to mid game doesn't get online as soon as possible, because the other team, they kind of need more farm, and Indy just going against the other mime on the other side, getting one knockout in the bottom lane.
Yeah, and I will point out this is a little bit of game is looking a little bit rough for Muk. Muk is playing that Greninja, who you really ideally as a as a central area person would really want to get to level 9 by the 7 o'clock mark when those first objectives come up, but they're still struggling a little bit at that level 6. That early aggression, that time waste really worked for excellent side in there, and so it looks like they're going to be struggling to get that. They did just evolve to 7, but they definitely will not have their ult in time for those objectives, and we see them actually aggressing those objectives now. Regieleki going to excellent side as the Registeel is heavily contested. LeCoding really just getting a lot of free resets there, and they managed to secure it.
I think this is a really good decision. They realize that they cannot get the top lane Regieleki. They are kind of able to defend it, and they also started the Registeel as soon as possible. So they managed to, even out some of the objectives a little bit, even though they don't really have the levels. And we do see them kind of suffer a little bit in terms of the team fight right there with the Epsil going down.
Yeah, we see some ults coming out. We do see some early evolutions. LeCoding going down to them. A champ ult right there to Lily. Iglo just stuck by themselves for now. Oh, Muk coming in with a huge ult. Those surf resets really coming in clutch, really cleaning up. Who will win this 1v1 again between Blissey and Greninja? It looks like Greninja wins there. That lifesteal, the HP you get back, the surf resets are so strong, especially against a team that is as squishy, that can be as squishy as that team when they're so low already.
Yep, they definitely overextended and for too long as well. I think Muk came in at the right timing. He just managed to get his Unite move there, and right now, with that fight that he just took there, he is already level 11. So they kind of already not just met the level, they're actually a lot higher in terms of the levels right now, but of course, and in terms of the points as well.
Yeah, and it looks like they're ahead up in points, but it does look like they are trying to catch up in terms of levels on execution side. We see a 1v1 between Lily and LeCoding here. It looks like they're just going to split ways here, not try to aggress that at all. Indy going in, maybe getting a stun, trapping LeCoding a bit with that wall. Tibi going in, but it looks like both teams are going to just choose to get everyone out safe as possible without doing this, because there are only 18 seconds left on Regieleki and 22 seconds left on whatever the next Reggie is. That ult coming out, catching Glaceon out, they're going to be out for at least 7 seconds. They'll be up by the time Regieleki spawns, but we'll see whether whether that loss is gonna cost them early on before this spawn even happens.
Yeah, I mean, 2 down on their side, and that means on Muk's team they have the early rotation up top, and they are going to apply that kind of pressure of starting with Regieleki already with the power and numbers. But who will be the one to take it? Ooh.
Yeah, they managed to get that last minute snipe with Aegis Slash, but they are cleaning up a bit. LeCoding going a little deep, suffering for it. They get taken out, and the ults are coming out again from Mime, taking out both those teams. It looks like Exeggcution will be able to push this in for free. Indy basing just really low, but it looks like both Nippy and Saotorii are going to go in and see if they can push that while getting some free EXP here.
Yeah, I think even though they didn't manage to get the Regieleki, they do manage to get a bit of EXP from that, and I think they decided not to push it in as well. I think they don't have enough of the Unites, and at the same time, they want to be using this time to farm out instead. So both teams kind of like finding a little bit of objectives there. Muk's team, they do manage to find the Reggie Ice that came out, I think, and so it's kind of evenly split out. But of course, as I say this, they are trying to force a fight at the bottom tier 1 goal zone.
Exeggcution knows that they're probably behind on points, but now they're just barely ahead despite having the same number of goals up. They are popping some of those ults in order to get that out, and it looks like they're trying to aggress that T2. Won't be able to quite get it. Everyone's choosing to get out safely instead, and it does look like they're able to take advantage of that on a jungle Blissey OP side to aggress some of that middle farm. We see Ramon, the Absol here, really in deep. Everyone's chasing them down, trying to get that back. Will Ramon be able to get out? I can't quite tell. Oh, caught in that fire spin. Unfortunate.
Yeah, I mean, 4 versus 1 in the central area. I think Epsil just didn't stand a chance right there. So I think right now, we are at the 3 minutes mark. It seems like everyone's somehow already at the legendary pit, taking a good fight right before, Rayquaza actually spawns a minute later.
Yeah, it looks like some of the ults, this is kind of the last chance to use your ults. In the old map, we used to say that the 4-minute mark was the last chance to use your ult, but there's so much farm on this map that you can really ult as any character around the 3-minute mark, and you'll most likely end up having it back with some scores and some farming. And it looks like everyone's ended up getting out mostly safe, very few casualties, but it was a chance for Exeggcution side to try to catch up on some EXP. You see Muk, you see LeCoding, they're already at that level 13, which is usually when you end up getting that final boost boost in stats, and it's going to be really beneficial for them. It looks like Exeggcution is going to try to go for this Rtsannn, the last one. Selo hiding in the bush, maybe going to try to snipe it. Muk dancing around it too. If they can get this in, it would be a huge boost for them as well. Some eggs coming out quite early here. Who gets it? It looks like Exeggcution is going to get it with 10 seconds left to go until Rayquaza's in the legendary pit.
Yeah, and I think at this point, Muk's team, they need to figure out whether or not they want to defend this, because they have a slight lead, but at the same time, if they defend it, the other team does have the opportunity to just start out on this Rayquaza. But it seems like they opted to wait it out instead, to kind of make sure to look out for where the team is. And it seems like they have allowed the Regieleki to go in with this Machamp actually going to go straight for that dunk in first, and then, you know, some regrouping happening in the middle as they start Rayquaza.
Yeah, most of the team blocked out against that light screen as they all go in. Mime getting that ult on the side of Jungle Blissey OP. All these ults coming out. It's hard to see quite what's happening, but it looks like 3 characters down on Jungle Blissey OP side. It looks like LeCoding's the one left standing, but Lily's ult ends up taking them out, and they end up suffering. But no one's available to hit Rayquaza for now, and it looks like even though that Exeggcution won that team fight, no one's really being able to aggress Rayquaza, and there's still a minute left. So much can happen in a minute still, especially in this map. Is Rayquaza super necessary? Teams seem to... We'll see what these teams end up deciding here.
I think there's still time to go for the Rayquaza, but at the same time, if they don't opt for it, you know, then the other team does have to defend the tier 2 go zone, which I don't think is too hard. So I feel like the best option right now for Muk's team is to really take down this Rayquaza and force some dunks in, because there is still time.
Yeah, and it looks like some members of the team ended up going down here, and it looks like 2 members of Exeggcution are out. Dangerously low Rayquaza. Who ends up getting it? It ends up being Exeggcution who ends up getting that with the Mime. Oh my gosh, Indy going in really hard with that Mime here. They're going to try to take out as many of the characters on Jungle Blissey OP side before they try to go score. Saotorii going for that score, but it looks like they have FF'd already. 17 seconds left.
Well, honestly, I feel like that was just a little bit unlucky. Muk's team, they really had, you know, the right idea. They were all going for that Rayquaza, but unfortunately, just getting it stolen by a Mime just like that. How could you let that happen?
It was a really tough fight. I feel like they were see what was happening, but there were some ults being held at the end. I noticed that the Greninja ult was still up, the Absol ult was still up, but then ultimately that Delphox ult coming back right at the end with a Mime confusion to really get that last minute score, and that last minute snipe of it really sealed the deal here.
Yeah, I think the pressure coming in from the Regieleki was definitely something that prevented them from doing what they wanted to do. I think they did manage to, not only did they let the Regieleki in, it also caused them to kind of lose out in terms of the point lead at that point, and they had to get forced to do the Rayquaza. Unfortunately, because of the split they had, they weren't able to take the fight as well as they wanted to.
Yeah, that light stream with the confusion there that trapped out most of the team after Aleki walked in and they tried to defend from it, but after Lily, the Machamp, scored, really took out a lot of their health and meant that they all got picked off pretty well individually, and holding some of the ults ended up working against them in the end. But, you know, the first match, it's a best of 3. We'll see where they end up going. Really, the first match is really just trying to see how the other team plays, so they can always shake it up. And we never know which way it's going to end up going, but it does mean that Jungle Blissey, nope, a perfect execution has the first win here.
Yeah, definitely, for sure. I think looking at both sides, they actually did really well, and I feel like both team compositions worked extremely well as well. They were very aware of the time that they could come online, and they made use of that, even with the Unite moves, you know, being used at the 3-minute mark, a little bit close to the 2-minute, but at the same time, they used it very effectively to get the levels that they needed. So I think, you know, the next match is going to be extremely close, considering the fact that they have already gone through the first game this well.
I'm curious to see whether they're going to end up changing up any of the compositions that they ended up having or anything like that. I'm not sure. I'd be curious to see whether they keep any or all of the same characters, because I feel like those comps and the synergy was there, but some of the battles just meant that they ended up getting split up and getting picked off one by one, as I said earlier.
Yeah, definitely. I think I'm wondering if they'll keep the Absol there, but, you know, as we say this, they are going to the character selection screen already, so we can have a look there.
And it does look like that for the most part, they are going to stay similar. Oh, it looks like Muk's just changing between a couple of different characters. I saw Crustle flash up. They're hovering the Greninja for now, but it's not locked in, though there are only 5 seconds left. They might last minute change it. We'll see what ends up happening. Like I said, I do think it ended up playing to the advantage of Exeggcution to be able to have characters that both were able to go really aggressively forward and also be able to play back, like the Delphox, being able to just cast those fire spins that ended up catching 2, 3, 4 of the characters at the same time. But they are going with the same comp, and we'll see how they end up changing up here, because I'm really curious to see whether any of their perhaps their strategies are going to change, like whether they which way they end up rotating first or earlier.
Yeah, I think with the first game, we can really see that the Aegislash was a Pokemon that kind of went for the central area. So I'm wondering if they will immediately respond to that, and whether or not in this game, is he going to do the same thing, right? Because now they know it.
Yeah, and it looks like early on, Tibi is going to go right for it, and they're going to go be aware of it. Celo already rotating a little into the jungle, we can see, just to see if this is going to happen. Looks like they're going to see if they can catch out Tibi here, and it looks like Muk is already ready for it, ready for this to happen. Celo starting to bring out some of those pounds as they slow the damage on some of those buffs here.
Yeah, yeah, I think Tibi is definitely going to go down this time. They are definitely prepared for him here. And with that, I think Blissey is going to go up top once again to help the Lucario out a little bit here. And of course, it really does depend on where each central area Pokemon decides to go again. And will Glaceon be going up top again? Because then they will be able to apply a lot of pressure like they did in the first game.
Yeah, exactly. I'm curious to see. Last time we saw LeCoding do a really early rotation down bot and leaving Blissey up alone top. Well, not even Blissey, they were a Chansey at that point. But it looks like right now we're seeing a really early rotation from Indy going all the way top, leaving actually the Absol and the Mime early chances to get some stacks. And as everyone is up top right now, everyone's here trying to clear those, well, birds, bees, everything, the Swablues, as they aggress on Exeggcution side to see if they can get any KOs. They do end up catching out Blissey. Are they going to be able to get this? Is LeCoding going to end up taking out everyone? I can't tell. Oh, wow. And it looks like LeCoding's the one last standing valiantly, but Exeggcution does win that team fight in the end.
Yeah, that was definitely a really good fight happening at top lane. I think it was a very smart idea to actually bring the Mime top, considering that Glaceon and Mime all scale very early, and they were able to apply a lot of pressure, getting in those early dunks in for the tier 1. I mean, on Lamuk's team side, they don't lose out that much. They managed to find some EXP there, but at the same time, it set them a little bit behind in terms of the points. Actually, I say this, but then they have a little bit of an advantage still in terms of the points, with 6 points advantage.
Yeah, we just actually saw Iglo, the Mime, on the on jungle Blissey OP side, going and getting some farm for free in the other jungle, but Muk really aggressing Glaceon here, getting that KO, leaving them free to get these EXP, these points potentially, and perhaps already breaking the T1, but Snippy's back just in time. But is Absol going to aggress them? Absol and LeCoding really going in on these two characters, and they managed to break that T1 goal, giving them a 50-point lead already at the 7:30 mark.
Yep, it seemed like they were not happy with them going for the tier 1 goals on at top just like that, and they decide to kind of rotate down bottom. I think that's a really good strategy, because now on both lanes they kind of have that advantage of getting the Altera as well as the Swablues.
Yeah, and we see Celo getting a lot of those bees and delaying the bees with the egg bomb, and actually making sure LeCoding's able to secure some of that farm as well. We see Muk and Mime down bot with that, trying to secure that. I didn't get to see what it was, but one of the Reggies, as everyone's just waiting out the Selobgo while they are able to increase they got the Registeel or Regirock. I forget which one it is, but they have a boost in their defense now as they go into this fight for the Regieleki. Looks like everyone's just waiting it out as they're waiting for everyone else to be able to rotate top. Absol coming out right now, chunking a good bit of health. Are they going to be able to get the Machamp? They managed to get Machamp here. Are they going to take out Aegislash? And Aegislash goes down too. Glaceon all coming out right now, but they have to go back. They're really low.
I think a really good strategy to actually go for the Reggie first before going for the Lecky at top lane, because they know that they can hold the lane well enough. And it seemed like the other team didn't respond quickly enough to this kind of split on their team. And now, you know, on the purple side, they have a lot of advantage in terms of the levels and in terms of, you know, the grouping that they have for this Regieleki fight.
Yeah, this Regieleki fight actually drawing out since no one's doing damage, but Leki's probably respawning health. LeCoding going and getting that Blissey OP, trying to take out as much of the team as possible as they wait for Muk to rotate back to top after catching out Lily the Machamp. And it looks like they're going to see if they can get some scores here, breaking that T1 goal before even going in for that Aleki, making it even freer for them to be able to get that Aleki without being contested by anyone else. Looks like Blissey's going to try to score here. Oh, that confusion. Indy really bullying everyone up top. Wow. Oh, but Indy goes in.
Oh.
That huge ult coming in from Muk, taking out Saotorii, and just barely cut. Oh, but they get taken down by Lily there.
Yep, and without any of the Unite moves left, I think they are gonna just leave it there and instead kind of rotate towards the center as well as the opponent's jungle to get as much farm as they can, since Regieleki isn't likely to go in. Ooh, I say that, but no, it seems like they have allowed it in.
Yeah, it looks like they allowed it in. The early rotation thinking that everyone had left meant that it was they getting some good ults, some good scores, and it means that they were able to get that Aleki in. But Lily's ult coming out, really taking out the other team. But the rest of the team has rotated, broken another T2 goal on Exeggcution side. It's now 330 to 65 at 440 mark. LeCoding in deep here. Will they be able to get out? Oh, no.
Definitely a little bit too deep there. But great attempt by him, I think.
Yeah, getting a little bit of a distraction here. Actually, they're already that Aleki fight happened for so long that another Reggie has already spun. Muk has been soloing it. They managed to secure it without any help, even though Lily tries to go in for a last-minute snipe. But now they have that buff, as they'll probably start ending up rotating through the middle area to try to get some EXP before they take on Aleki yet again here.
Yeah, I think Jungle Blissey OP's team, they really have their rotations down in this game. I think they're just really outplaying the other team right now and even defending the tier 1 gold zone so well at the top lane now.
They've been really making good use of their ults and of their movement in order to be able to, and taking advantage of timing really well here in order to be super powerful and getting as many advantages as they can against the other team. They know that they're more of a late game team, and so they're trying to get as much EXP as they can here. Iglo a little bit caught up, but looks like Delphox isn't going to aggress that. We all know the pain of how powerful Mime has been even with the recent nerfs, so I understand backing off from that, especially as a Delphox.
Exactly, and you know, I totally agree with what you're saying, right? On Jungle Blissey OP side, they have pretty much a large level lead against the other team. I mean, Delphox is still just level 9 and we are kind of going into the late game already. This is definitely not what they want, and I guess they're trying to find a way to get some EXP, but it seems like they don't really have the levels or the right skills as well as Unite moves to actually get the value out of this.
Yeah, exactly. And you know that Delphox being level 9 is going to really hurt. Delphox really starts to pop off at level 11 when they get that cooldown reduction with their level 11 on their Flame Charge Plus. But it looks like that ult coming in huge, doing so much damage. Nippy actually doing so much damage, taking out LeCoding. It looks like they're getting caught up in some fire spins though. Will they be able to clean up? But Muk and Selo are able to stay alive here. Glaceon ult coming out here. But Surf just does so much damage and heal, and they get taken out. Indy retreating. Will they be able to get out? Looks like Indy's gonna, well, they actually might be chasing. No, Indy gets out for free. Aleki is still up at the 230 mark. I wonder if they're going to go for it, and they're probably going to try to walk it into base because that'll be very, very powerful.
Yeah, and I think, you know, Exeggcution definitely used up a lot of their Unite moves there, and with this Leki going inwards, as well as the fact that Rayquaza is actually going to spawn soon, it doesn't look too good for them in this game.
LeCoding really wants to ensure that this is going in, taking out Saotorii. Lily dangerously low here. Aleki's going to keep walking. They're going to let that provide some pressure, as it looks like the entirety of a Jungle Blissey OP is going to go to the legendary area. Muk already starting on that Rayquaza here, with the rest of the team helping to aggress this. It should be burst down really quickly, but Indy coming in with a Unite move. Are they going to be able to snipe it or get that last minute damage? That ult coming out, but Jungle Blissey OP gets it with LeCoding moves, and it looks like they're going to try, they get caught in some fire spins, but they still maintain their buffs here as they're aggressing, and they're trying to get into the base as soon as possible to score. Oh.
Yeah, that was a really nice attempt by the Aegislash to actually try and steal it, and I think he was actually quite close, but unfortunately, without anyone else to kind of protect him there, I think he didn't really stand a lot of chance. And I think, you know, just really well played by the side of Jungle Blissey OP in this game. I think they really got down the right rotations, and they really adapted extremely well to to the first game. So congratulations to them. It is a 1-1 right now, and that means we will be going to round 3.
Yeah, like I said earlier, it's not that it doesn't matter if you win the first one. It does give you a lead, but the first game is really about figuring out how the other team likes to play and figuring out your synergy against them. We didn't see any team comp changes from either side going into the second one. Probably from Jungle Blissey OP side, they knew that their synergy worked. They just needed to get it functioning against the other team. And from Exeggcution side, they had managed to win that match. But this time, Jungle Blissey OP really managed to pull together the team fighting, that synergy, and managed to pull out that win. They won almost every single team fight and objective, really playing off of those rotations, like we said earlier, really getting that early level lead, making sure that they were ready for any invades that might happen, and making sure that no one fell behind and everyone had their Unite moves ready exactly when they needed it.
Yep, and I think this was exactly why they didn't want to change the team composition, even though they lost the first game, right? Everyone on their team is confident and is very comfortable with the Pokemon that they were playing, and this time it was all about execution, and they executed it extremely well.
Massive agree there. And I think, you know, something that we had noted in the first match was that Muk, even at the 730 mark, he hadn't evolved completely to Greninja yet, which made a huge difference in both the amount of damage that he was able to do. He didn't have Surf yet, which is a huge difference in being able to take out a lot of the team, especially when your entire team backing you up is so dive heavy and you're like you're the main cleanup there. And this time they were able to ensure that they were able to have that. They actually held their Unite move for a really long time. They didn't need it until they were trying to push a Lucky into that mid goal, in which Muk wasn't actually there for it, but they ended up getting it anyways, and that really put them in a super early points lead, leaving the base completely open to be scored in as well.
Yeah, I think the split push kind of strategy, okay, not really split push, but you know, pushing the Regieleki in as well as doing the Rayquaza, or even when they were doing a similar thing with the Reggie Ices and Reggie Steels or Rock at the bottom, there's just so much map presence for their team, and I think the other team wasn't able to kind of respond to that. Especially, I think this time in the team fights, Jungle Blissey OP did a lot better. They were able to lock down the Glaceon as well as the Delphox a lot more, and you know, really allowed them to kind of snowball into the game. And not just that, but make sure that, you know, the Delphox and Glaceon do not do as much damage as they did in the first game.
Yeah, really aggressing those early T1 goals, just generally in any match in Unite, but also especially in this match for these characters who need a lot of EXP, opening up the map, making sure that your teammates are able to go in and aggress any farm really easily, because EXP in Unite isn't just, I want as much EXP as possible, but it's also, I want to deny my enemy team as much experience as possible. So breaking those T1 goals and making sure that Exeggcution had as little safety as possible, whereas Jungle Blissey OP had a way more open map to farm off of, really helped them out in this case.
Yeah, and so I think in this third match, what I really want to see is, you know, for perfect execution to, you know, execute it definitely a lot better. I think in terms of the rotation, being more confident with that as well, right? Making sure that, you know, they don't give the other team too much time to actually go for all of the objectives and try to go for their own objectives at the same time. So, and also, I guess they want to be extremely careful about the positioning of how they take the fights. They really want Mime to be in the front lines, and of course, if they're going with the Delphox and Glaceon again, make sure that they have enough space between them to actually deal the damage that they need to be doing for their late game team composition.
But let's see how they change up their teams here.
Yep.
And it looks like for the most part, a lot is staying the same, but it looks like Tibi's maybe rotating, thinking about taking a different character in. Oh, maybe Lily also changing up what they're gonna take. For the most part, it looks like Jungle Blissey OP, they know what they are good at, they know what works, they're gonna stick with it. It looks like Exeggcution though is gonna be switching it up potentially, seeing whether they're gonna keep that Machamp, keep that Aegislash, they're gonna change it around a bit. I'm curious to see, because there's only 5 seconds left, so what are they going to end up landing on? And it looks like actually they're going to keep it exactly the same.
I guess, you know, they have found some success with this. They did win the first match with this team composition, so it's really about now them adapting to how Jungle Blissey OP kind of plays the game, and hopefully, you know, this time they are able to kind of do that.
Yeah, exactly. And so we'll see here whether they're able to actually adapt to that weather. Like, for example, as you mentioned,
Yeah.
making sure that Jungle Blissey OP doesn't end up getting every single objective. Will they recognize the fact that last time waiting for a Lucky meant that it gave them time to do Registeel and get a Lucky as well? Will they manage to push a Lucky when there's when there's only 3 players top on Jungle Blissey OP side? And it actually looks like they're gonna go for a 1-1-3 here, sending Lily up top by themselves as Machamp, Glaceon in mid, and it looks like Mime, Aegislash, and Delphox going down bot by them. Well, not by themselves, the 3 of them going in together. Celo sitting in mid, seeing if there's going to be anything happening. They're deciding that nothing's actually happening here, so it looks like they're going to go back top and help out with top lane.
Yep, so I guess a little bit different, actually quite different entirely, right? Tibi now not going into the central area and also playing a 1-1-3 situation. It's completely different from the first 2 games, and the rotation to top by the Blissey is quite interesting considering the fact that they could have seen that the 1-1-3 was coming already. So it now I think it will be exciting to see like where Muk decides to rotate to. Does he want to help bottom lane because there's a lack of numbers, or do they really want to push top lane?
Yeah, and we see Saotorii, the Glaceon, going up top, but they weren't able to get there fast enough to help out Lily, who did get taken out by LeCoding, but looks like on the camp top, Delphox breaks in at this point, getting taken out there early on, and it looks like actually Indy rotating, recognizing the fact that they didn't rotate for the 1-1-3, so they're going to have to compensate to match the 2-1-2. Indy up here, they're getting LeCoding, but LeCoding's out back, pushing them further away from safety, but LeCoding gets taken out, giving Lily a level up here, and they take out Celo as well, giving them free caps up top. Wow.
Yep, so I guess they find some value at top lane, while Jungle Blissey OP does manage to find a little bit of value at the bottom lane. But I think it's really important for the top lane to get the EXP in that sense, because Machamp, I would say I was thinking that they would actually change that Pokemon out. It hasn't found a lot of I think users recently in this patch, but it seems like they have kind of decided to still go for it, and that means that they need to make sure that they find more value coming out from this Machamp.
Yeah, Tibi trying to make some presence known in mid to make sure that they're not able to get all of that farm, but they get taken out by Muk there. Looks like they're still just a little on edge, and it looks like LeCoding's getting some free scores in here, but Saotorii's presence up top is making them back off as they try to just secure a farm instead. Muk getting all of that middle farm instead. We see it's completely gone on the map, and no one has contested that from Exeggcution side. It looks like they're just sitting here trying to see if anyone's going to arrive, but it looks like everyone's realized all the farm's gone, so no one's here. Actually, no, never mind.
Well, I mean, that is extremely good rotation by Muk, I think, to realize that both lanes are filled with team members of the other side, and he manages to get a lot of lead from there. I mean, he's already almost level 9, and they still manage to find knockouts. Oh my goodness, this does not look good for perfect execution.
Yeah, they're really getting some of those early leads here. It's really hard for Exeggcution side. You're seeing the Bone Rush Extreme Speed Lucario come out. We're seeing the Surf Greninja. These are both characters that get really free resets, especially when you have characters that are playing very close together, which this team really does need, which Exeggcution side does need to do. So they're getting a lot of free resets, lots of health off of this, which means that they're getting a lot of EXP and a lot of KOs. And it looks like they secure on Jungle OP side the Reggie yet again, and it looks like they're not able to on Exeggcution side, able to aggress the Aleki. Oh wow, LeCoding going in, taking out Saotorii, the jungler there. Really good pick, but they do back off while they're waiting for everyone else's rotation here.
Yeah, I think they really know that this is the timing for them to kind of go in, right? With the team composition, they can't really do anything. Wow, look at the absolute just decimate this Machoke. Oh my goodness.
Oh my gosh. LeCoding's like E-speeds, their Bone Rush, it really does give them so much mobility to chase even far into the Flux Zone where they're supposed to have less speed, but they're able to really push everyone really far back. We noted earlier that, this other team, that on Exeggcution side, they do have a lot of players that can play really far back. The downside of that is that, those characters end up being much squishier, and that is what they're really taking advantage of with characters like Greninja, Absol, Lucario, and they do secure on Jungle Blissey OP sides that Aleki. They're trying to push it in. Will they manage to get it? There are 4 players up top. That ult coming in really huge from Muk, and that Blissey ult as well. And Celo's ult, Iglo's ult coming in huge here, managing to take out most of the characters, pushing Indy out, and Aleki walks in, and they break. Yeah, wow. It's left with 6 points. They haven't broken it yet, but it is dangerously close to being broken. LeCoding taking out the champ down bot and protecting that T1 goal.
I think, this is really great great gameplay coming in from jungle Blissey OP. They know that this is the timing for their team and they are able to find lots of value for this. And I feel like perfect execution, what they need to do right now is to make sure that they don't take all these fights that they can't take considering their levels. They don't have a lot of the unite moves at that point, and they need to make sure that, you know, their team come online as soon as possible. So Delphox to level 9, and okay, I do see some unite move available on the Macho. Yes, this is exactly what they need, and they need to kind of use this unite move right now to kind of pressure, force a team fight out of them and trying to get more EXP this way.
Yeah, it looks like they're trying to pick some fights after they got a pick on the Absol here. They're going really far in. I see Machamp holding that ult, but LeCoding cleaning up on that Glaceon, trying to get Indy out of here as well, taking Lily out, the Machamp out of question, as well as they're forced to back off. Oh, but actually Delphox trying to go in, get some attacks here, taking out their ult, but they are taken out eventually by LeCoding. And Aegislash here trying to get some KOs if they can, trying to catch up on EXP. Will they get LeCoding? They might actually, and they managed to get that pick. Oh, wow.
This fight is not ending anytime soon. I think both teams finds a lot of value from this, and I think for the side of perfect execution, it was really good that they managed to get the Reggie at the bottom lane at the very least. You know, now they are kind of adapting in terms of their rotations and in terms of their map awareness. So even though they don't get a lot of points out of that, I think they did extremely well in being able to take the team fight as well as that objective.
Yeah, exactly. And they were able to catch up on a lot of EXP now. Now you see that some level 12s on perfect execution side. And level 12s are the highest levels on jungle OP side. You know, they did manage to get some KOs on both sides, but unfortunately, because so much of jungle Blissey OP got taken out, it did give execution a lot of shutdown EXP, letting them catch up. And this is a dangerous spot to be in. We now actually see 3.5 minute mark. Delphox already has that level 11. We see Lily already got some stacks in here. LeCoding rotating to try to get that KO. But it looks like both teams are focused for the most part on this Alecki, trying to delay it a little bit. Which side will get it, we're not quite sure. It looks like they're delaying it a bit now.
Yep, they're rather split across the entire map. Muk going for the Delphox instead means that the numbers at top lane, that was kind of a close call right there, but it seems like the perfect execution will be able to get this Regieleki, and they also bring down a number of them, so they probably will be able to find some value, getting in some dunks in the tier 1 go zone.
Yeah, and it looks like they're taking out a lot of the players. It looks like the Alecki walks into the T1, so they're able to catch up on points as well as some EXP, like you pointed out. They took out a fair bit number of players. Muk went for the Delphox, wasn't able to get that pick, so they actually gave some EXP back to the Delphox there. But they were able to break that T2 goal. If you remember from earlier, Alecki walking in, that very first Alecki meant that there was only 6 points left. So whoever got that dunk in there got a pretty significant overcap. And so it's still a 320 to 180 with jungle Blissey OP getting that Regice right before Rayquaza spawns.
Yep, Tibi was there to kind of think about whether or not he wanted to use this unite move to steal that objective, but he decided to go away instead. I think in terms of the numbers and stuff, he didn't have his team there, so I think that's a good idea. So now both teams just kind of waiting it out a little bit to see, you know, where the other team is headed. Are they going to go for any sneaky dunks, or are they going to be prepared for the fight that should happen in the Rayquaza pit?
It looks like they're gently hitting Rayquaza on Excellent side, just trying to see if they can bait anyone out. Everyone on Execution side was really set up to really prevent any scores. We see Lily's ult coming out, just barely misses Muk there, and Iglo manages to catch out Tibi here. Some ults coming out again, and the Muk's ult coming out, finding some huge targets with Blissey ult, giving Muk so much EXP. But it looks like actually Execution was able to get that Rayquaza last minute, but will they manage to stay alive for these scores? Wow. Yes, because the entirety of jungle Blissey OP has been taken out, so they're going to be able to get all of these Hundo Dunkins in here and make some massive scores here to catch up, but there's still going to be a full minute left. Will they be able to defend against everyone who's going to be back up and ready to score on Execution side, on an OP side?
Around 200 plus ish points. If they manage to get some knockouts here, I feel like that might be possible. I really do feel that the Absol should have went for the Glaceon and then go back for the Aegislash, but it seems like they do manage to only get one knockout, and I don't know how they're gonna be able to get in those dunks, especially since, you know, they are kind of defending. But really good diversion this time by perfect execution.
Yeah, Delphox on execution does still have their ult, as does Absol. They're throwing down that ult already. Absol's taken out, the only one with the ult on a Jungle Blissey OP's team. Muk just barely getting out, but getting sucked into Indy's ult again, taken out. Oh no, Muk actually made it out, but there's not enough time to score. They're all being taken out in this bottom lane, and the Jungle Blissey OP all taken out, whereas Execution's all still alive. Execution, last minute Rayquaza win, taking home that win.
I'm just amazed at both of these teams' gameplay. Just so good from match 1 to match 3. You know, so much adaptation coming in from both teams, and I think this game was a very good showcase of, you know, perfect executions, us adapting entirely to the rotations that happen in game 2, making sure that, you know, the Machamp is always there to kind of respond to whether or not Muk is trying to go for that split push kind of strategy, and this time it really did pay off for them.
Definitely agree with that one there for sure. Yeah, look at these scores. Huge MVPs. Huge shout out to both teams here. Actually, Mime's MVP on both teams. Wow, congratulations to them.
Yeah, I think Mime just plays such a crucial role in a lot of the team compositions nowadays. It's hard to go without one Mime.
Exactly. And so with that, perfect execution takes home the win 2-1 over Jungle Blissey OP. I think they handled that last fight so well. You know, we had noted earlier that a lot of Jungle Blissey's OP side is characters that really feed off of everyone being grouped very close together, being able to get a lot of those free resets. And they did a very good job on execution side of being, everyone was in their right places. They weren't pushed to, everyone who needed to be forward was forward. They were grouped out appropriately, so they couldn't take advantage of so many of those resets. You know, Muk's ult, for example, only caught out Lily, the Machamp, and while that is a huge pick, you really ideally would want to take out as many more of those squishy characters that deal damage as much as possible, and they weren't able to quite get that. Absol going down with that ult was really unfortunate, both at the last minute push and at the Rayquaza fight, and in the end, perfect execution had the perfect execution, you could say.
Yep, I definitely think so. I think, you know, I was talking about the Machamp not doing that much, but in this game, she actually managed to do 82,000 damage, as said by somebody in chat. And I think there was a lot of value that they found this time with the Machamp, and yeah, really well played by both teams. And congratulations to Perfect Execution for making it to the next round.
Yeah, and that means Perfect Execution will be moving on to the losers finals, where they will be playing against Intentional Throwing, where intentional is spelled with the number 10. I had to read that like a couple times for a second. I was like, in 10, I was like, oh, okay, I know what I'm reading, but they will be playing against Intentional Throwing now. Very excited to see how those games play out. I hope it goes to a best of 2-3 games again, because these games have been very close and incredibly exciting to watch.
Yep, definitely. And now, you know, having seen their gameplay, I wonder if the other team is going to intentionally throw or not. You know, did they watch the games before, and how are they going to be the ones to kind of adapt to the gameplay that we have just saw?
Exactly. And I'm also curious to see whether Perfect Execution, are they going to be keeping that comp, the same comp, because it's worked for them against this comp, and we'll see if it works for them again. I am going to say a little disappointed that their name is egg themed and they don't have a Blissey on their team. A little sad about that one. But
I think they're definitely waiting for Exeggutor to kind of come into the game, but we'll see when that's happened.
Yeah, but for now, we're gonna break. We'll let you guys all take a breather, and then we'll see you back again for the losers finals between Intentionally Throwing and Perfect Execution.